What's up, everyone? It is your girl Gel Beauty 87 here, aka Grace, and today, girl, we're gonna get into my top 10 holiday palettes in my collection. So not just like from any particular year, just whatever holiday palettes I liked. Now, I don't know if we should count do we count the quads? Can I count the quads as one palette? Because like I have the McGrath quads in here, of course, because they're amazing. So I'm gonna just count them as one palette, and then I got one honorable mention because y'all know I can't just follow my own instructions and actually have 10. So without further ado, girl, let's get into it. So my honorable mention is the Menagerie Cosmetics Claws palette. If you all remember last year, I bought the Paws palette and they actually gifted me the Claws palette for free. So I had to include it. I love the color story of this. I think it's not necessarily traditional holiday, but you know, that's what I think I kind of like about it, the fact that I know it's not going to be a traditional holiday palette. I can't wait to pair this with the Peaches and Dream palette from Shroud that I will be ordering on the 30th when it drops, honey. Yes, I need it, but I'm going to definitely pair this with that and probably pair it with a couple other palettes in my collection. But I wanted to shout it out just because I thought it was really pretty. I love the shifting shimmer right here, and this one right here, and this one right here. Like, I just love how chaotic and kind of weird this one is, but I actually ended up making a really nice look for you all with it. So that is my honorable mention. Now let me get into the palettes I have to talk about that I will be showing. So I had a lot of collections. Believe it or not, they came out with 2 palettes, so I'm just putting the collections together as one palette with the 2 palettes, which is how we gonna have so many palettes to show. So don't be judging me. Tell these brands to stop releasing 2 and 3 palettes at one time, because that's how they did it. So I'm just showing you it the way it was presented to me. Okay, leave me alone. So I'm gonna start off with the one palette that I only have 2 palettes that have like, sorry, 2 brands that have one palette. Every other brand decided they need to have 2 palettes, and I, like a whole clown, bought them all. So yeah, but I have the Huda Beauty Rose Quartz palette. This is one of my all-time favorite Huda Beauty holiday palettes. I mean, this is definitely my type of color story. Like when I have to do everyday neutrals and whatnot, this would be a palette that I would reach for. Y'all know I love me a purple moment and a mauve tone moment, and to me this is like a muted cool tone version of that that's daytime appropriate. So when I'm in a rush and need to do eye look, I'm usually reaching for one of the Huda Beauty mauve tone palettes, but this is just my favorite one that came out during the holidays. Nunu did come out during the holidays as well. If you all forgot, that was actually I think the 3rd one she came out with, but that was the first one I bought. But yeah, I love this color story. I still reach for this palette from time to time now, so I try to include stuff I reach for time to time recently as well, not just stuff that looks pretty that sits in my collection. So I try to be mindful of that as well. Next, I have the Unearthly Cosmetics Smells Like Holiday Spirit palette. This was their holiday collection from 2021. They came out with this, and then they came out with, I think it's In the Night. I'm pretty sure that's the name of the palette. I actually did a look for you all recently with this palette. In the Elf video where I came back and put the mascara on, I was wearing this palette. I did a Palettes That Inspire Me video. It's one of my new series that you all have seen a couple of videos on. I think you've only seen 2 because I've had so much other stuff coming out to like I had to pause on that, but I will try to make sure that this one goes up next since everybody was talking about how they really liked that eye look. Thank you, I appreciate it. But this is the palette I used to make it, so I love this palette to this day. I don't know what it is about this color story. I just think it's so unique and weird, and I'm here for it. Like especially like the shimmers at the bottom, like the fun neon-y, vibrant-y, pastel-y shimmers at the bottom that tie into with all these mattes she chose just works beautifully for me, and I love this palette. Like honey, it's giving and I'm living. Okay, so those are the 3 that I have individually. All the other brands decided they need to come up with 2 palettes at a time. Like, you know, this was the Bible and they had to have 2 of everything, like 2 of the animals and all that, but I bought them like a whole clown. Now at the time when these palettes I'm about to show you dropped, I only bought one of the 2 because I wasn't crazy about the other color story. And the funny thing is everybody else was crazy about the other color story and wasn't crazy about the one I was crazy about. So these are the Natasha Denona holiday palettes from like 20, I want to say 18, 19, don't quote me, but I was obsessed with this one right here, the Joya palette, number 1. Nobody was really rocking with this palette like that. I didn't hear anybody talking about this one. Everybody was talking about this one, the Aries palette, which I thought was so weird because I'll touch on that in a second, but this is what she looks like. I loved this color story. To me, this was to me, this is a true holiday palette. You got your reds, you got the nice bright gold, you got a deep cranberry shade, and you got like some bronzy tones for people who like that sort of thing. So to me, this was a true holiday palette. But everybody was obsessed with the Aries palette for some reason. I don't know if it's because the bright pop of blue made them excited, because this was during the pop of blue era when everybody was about the pop of blue. So I mean, that could be why they liked it. But my whole thing was like, I'm like, I can get this same color story from Juvia's place for 20 bucks. So I was like, why do I need this? I don't need this. This looks like the Saharan 2 palette from Juvia's place, and they give you more tones, and Juvia's place is always on sale. So these little things cost 50 bucks if you remember. So I was like, no, who's doing that? I ended up buying it later on after it came back in stock on her website. I think that was like last year. I went ahead and bought this one, and I bought the Joya again because I had decluttered mine since I had similar colors in another palette. But since it came back, I was like, since I do review a lot of Natasha Denona, I just went ahead and got it. So these I'm just counting as one palette because, like I said, they're just two that came out during the same time. So I guess that would be number 3. I'm not ranking them as far as how much I like them more than others and all that type of stuff. So don't be looking for that type of ranking. This is just showing you the top 10 holiday palettes I reached for the most in my collection. And those are some of them. So next I have the Cosmos collection. I believe that's the name of this collection. I have the Envy and the Aura palettes from Ace Beauty. Honey, when I saw this collection, I was like, yes, give it to me now, give it to me now, give it to me now. So this is the Aura palette. I love how unique the color story is for this one. But the only thing is, I feel like if you have this, you don't need the Begonia palette. Because I'm like, this is really similar to the Begonia palette. They just used more, I guess, acid greens, as opposed to using a traditional like deep foresty green. And then you have a lot of the similar shades in this palette from what I remember. If you all watch my Why You Don't Need video for that collection, I feel like, you know, this palette looks really similar to that one, and you don't necessarily need it. And if you bought the set, then you already have that green right here, because this is the Envy palette. So this is both the collections together. I thought both of these colors were stunning together. I was here for it. It was a whole vibe. I had to have both. I did 2 eye looks with it. I've done eye looks with it since. I continue to do eye looks because I love these 2 palettes. I feel like they did great combinations of color stories. The only thing is, again, if you have palettes from this brand, then I feel like you don't necessarily need, like, this kind of reminds me of the Oceanic palette, if you will. It's like a miniature Oceanic palette. So if you didn't want to get the huge Oceanic palette and you wanted some more like neutrals with it, because this is still a somewhat little neutral section here, whereas that one's full-blown blue green, then you would go ahead and get this one because it's a more mute, it has a little bit of neutral in it and still has the green blues that you're looking for. And this one kind of reminded me of, I forgot what palette I told y'all about. You can go watch the video of why you don't need the collection, and then I talked about it in there, or I talked about it in the collection video for this last year when this collection first came out during the holidays. I'm pretty sure I showed it, but I think I said it was similar to the Paletopoly palette with the color story, and that's why you don't need it. Don't quote me though, but I still reach for both of these over those palettes I just named, because Paletopoly is just a little bit bigger, and it's like, since it has some of those similar tones and this is a muted version of it, or I'll just grab like the Barbie palette from Glamlight. That's why I don't, you know, necessarily feel like I needed the bigger ones, but those came out before those. So next I have the Lethal Cosmetics collection. So this is the Metamorphosis palette, and this is the Evergreen palette. I don't keep the sleeves because I need to remember the names, even though the names are on the back of the sleeves and not necessarily in the back of the palette. I just keep the sleeves because it looks cool to me. So there's that. But I usually remember all the names of my Lethal Cosmetics palettes, even though, you know, they're not on the back of the palette. So if you're gonna buy these palettes, just keep in mind, if you're not gonna remember the name, maybe you can get a sticker and like put it on the back and get the name of it, so that way you don't have to keep the sleeve. But that's the only way you'll know the name of the shades as well, or the palette. So this is what it looks like on the inside. It kind of gives me the vibes of the what is it, the Fire palette from Melt Cosmetics that came out on that same holiday last year. But I feel like this gives a unique and fun twist to it. Like, I love this shifting shade down here. I love the multi-chrome shifting shades in here, and the mattes they chose to go along with them. I think they did an excellent job with that. I love to reach for this orange and this red to when I want to do a fiery look with this palette. And then I love this unique shimmery shade here, even though it's similar to their One Up palette. They have the shade in it that's similar to this, but I really like this palette. I don't usually like fiery tone palettes, but I'll reach for this one from time to time, which is why I wanted to include it, because it's like a big deal. Because if you're from this channel, you know I don't vibe with warm tones. I'm a cool tone queen. So the Evergreen palette, this is truly just my love when it comes to those 2 palettes. But I mean, like, again, if you're from this channel, you know why I love this palette. Like, it has my blues, it has my greens, it has my purples, and it just gives a lovely unique twist of a color story. I love this random pop of purple too. I feel like it just gives like an extra spark, because otherwise I feel like this would be like the Envy palette from what is it, from Ace Beaute that I just showed you, because if you take out the purple, you see how it looks really similar to the colors that are in that palette. If you take out this purple, this is another version of that palette. So if you want a more affordable version of this palette without the pop of purple, then you can go ahead and get the Envy palette from Ace Beaute, because they look about the same. Matter of fact, now I gotta put this to the side and do a underrated versus overrated, because Ace Beaute has an amazing formula, and this brand you can buy, you can get in you can get it from Berlin, Germany, where it comes from, on their website, or you can go to Camera Ready Cosmetics here in America, and it should come quicker that way. But I think they wait a while before they bring it there to make sure that you buy it from their website, which is fine. I don't care. I'll buy it from either one. I just want the palette. But if you want to wait, you can always buy it on Camera Ready Cosmetics. Now, I don't know if anybody has a code there. I know you can use code Cage Makeup at what do you call it, at Lethal Cosmetics. You can use code Cage Makeup at Ace Beaute, and you can use code Cage Makeup on Earthly Cosmetics website if you're interested in any of those. And you can use code Cage Makeup on this website, which is Utenzi. So I have the Merry Christmas and Christmas Eve palettes. Of course, y'all know these was gonna be in here, honey. The way people was fighting tooth and nail to get this, and then when they restocked that one time and people ran to get it while they could, honey, you better go grab it while you could. This palette is stunning. Although, if you want an alternative to this palette, I would say go ahead and get the Whistler Snow Lodge from Nomad, because the color stories are somewhat similar. I did a whole video and a battle of this palette with that palette for the people who had missed out on the palette at the time, so you wouldn't feel bad, because Whistler Snow Lodge, if I remember correctly, is one of their permanent palettes, whereas this was limited edition from our Earthly. Now, don't expect the shimmers and the multi-chroming goodness and this palette to be in that palette, but the general color story of it all looks really similar. It does have a little pop of red to it in the Whistler Snow Lodge, but otherwise it has a good majority of the same colors. It just doesn't have the purples that are in here, but it has the blues, it has the greens, and if I remember correctly, I think it might have this like light yellow and like a neutrally shade. It's sitting behind me, but it's like, it's supposed to be about a holiday palette, so I'm trying not to show those. Plus, I have videos comparing to them, so you can just go check them out, girl. But yeah, this one I love to reach for. I recently did videos with this and another one, so I'm just like, I keep trying to do videos with all these things just because I really love them, and that gives me an excuse to use them. And since I have to make a lot of content, well, I don't have to make a lot of content, but since I choose to make a lot of content, I want to make sure I'm getting the most use out of what I love to use and still like rotating through my new stuff. Next, we're gonna show Merry Christmas. Now, I have a dupe to this one as well, just in case you didn't get your hands on it. The only thing is the brand discontinued the dupe to this. So on Earthly Cosmetics, they had a palette called Poison Apple that was really similar to this palette. Like if you take out the pink and the fun shifting shade over here in the corner, they had a palette that was really similar to this one. I actually did a battle, I did an old school versus new school on it. It hasn't gone up yet, but I show you that this palette is really similar to that palette, and I do two different eye looks with it, so it should come up eventually. I don't know when, child. I'm gonna try to get it up sooner, but yeah, so this is what it looks like. I love this palette. I love the color story of this. The only thing is, I was like, doesn't it kind of look somewhat similar to Angie's palette, because it has a lot of the green tones that she picked in hers, and then it had like a pink, and I know she has some pink too, so I was kind of like, it looks like half of Angie's palette and then like half Christmassy-esque type vibe. So I thought that was interesting. I was like, okay. Next, y'all know I couldn't go without having Milk Cosmetics, and y'all knew my Morte and Beauty was gonna be in here. Honey, stop playing with me. Okay, so like my palettes don't line up perfectly with the magnets, because this is my new palette, this is my old one. The old one and the new one to match perfectly, but as you can see, it's not lining up the way it's supposed to. I guess because, you know, when they recreated it and they just recreated Morte, they weren't trying to, you know, like make sure it lined up, because they figured whoever bought it initially had both of them, because it is, honey, it is not staying still together at all. It's just, she's not, okay, I'll just hold it like this to try to make it work, because she's not just doing it on her own. Okay, so this is my new Morte, so that's why it's not used, so don't be looking at me sideways. It's just, since Morte was getting kind of old, I got, you know, a new one to use or to have in my stash. And then I have Vita here. So we'll start talking about Vita. So Vita, I wasn't that crazy about it. I actually bought Vita on sale on Sephora after they came into Sephora, because I wasn't necessarily too crazy about this. But I feel like the palettes work nicely together, because you get nice transition shades and unique shades in here that you don't have in there. Like all these can be transition shades for that one if you don't want to necessarily use a lot of dark grungy tones. Plus you have these light, fun, bright oranges, reds, and greens to choose from. So I just wanted to have the collection as a whole, because I'm a Milk collector. But this is the one, like when they first dropped, I was like, look here, I need the code to get to the site, to get to the palette. Stop playing with me. I actually reached out to them and DM'd them, and they were nice enough to give me the code, because I told them, I'm like, I signed up, but I didn't get my code like I was supposed to. And this was my birthday present to myself, and I want to say this came out in 2019. I feel like this came out in 2019, 2020, but no, 2019. So I mean, needless to say, I'm obsessed with it. It has my blues, it has my mints, it has some nice reds for Christmas, and then it has this really nice champagne inner corner shade. What I love about Melt is they have lots of nice deep mattes to them. The only thing is, I don't like the fact that they put matching deep shimmers. I wish they would put lighter shimmers and deeper mattes, and a lot of people say that same thing too, so it's not like I'm just out here saying it. It's like other people feel the same way I do. Mel, we need y'all to give us some lighter shimmers, not just always give us deep shimmers and deep mattes. That's what I don't like about Gemini too, and I actually recreated mine to get myself some lighter shimmers, because they were not giving with them shimmers. I'm like, girl, stop playing with me and get us some lighter shimmers. Honey. Next, I have, of course, another Melt collection. So this is the Melt and Beetlejuice collection. One of the owners has a Beetlejuice actually tattooed on her arm, so I wasn't surprised when I saw this collection coming. I was just like, yes. The only thing I'll say about these, and other people say the same thing, is like they picked too many of the same tones when it came to certain palettes, and it was just like, look, how many times do we need these same tones? Like, for example, the recently deceased palette is the one with a lot of the greens and the purples. And I'm like, it's nice, but it's like, how many different variations of purple do we need? And I feel like they don't transition well on the eye, so they just look like a muddled mess, and a lot of them look the same. So I wasn't necessarily crazy about that, because like this shimmer doesn't look much different from this shimmer. And then, sorry, I should have left this on if I didn't plan on doing all that, but this shimmer doesn't look much different from this shimmer, and then this purple doesn't look that much different from this purple. I mean, in the pan they do, but it's like on the eyes when you put them on, they don't look that different. Now with these, I feel like these do look different on the eyes, but like when it came to the purple shades, it's just like they picked too many purples of the same tone or too close in tone to where you can't get a true look. It's like, to me, with that, you have to do more of like a two eye look thing. So you can do like the purple, then you can do one of the greens, and then you have to pick one of each shimmer to use, or else it's not going to look the way you want it to look. Next, I have the Waiting Room. I'm here for it. It's a whole vibe. I love the color story of this, but again, it's like, I feel like the grays are a little too similar. Like these two right here, they look too similar in the pan, and they look too similar, I'm sure, when you put them on the eye. So I don't understand what the purpose of both of those were. I would prefer they gave us something else than both of these, but that's okay. And then with the reds, again, they look too similar too. Like this red and this red don't look different enough. It'd have been fun if they had a hot fiery red in here and then this deeper red for the outer V or something, but it's like the reds and the grays in here are just too similar. And again, I've heard lots of people say this with the collection, we still like the formula, we still like the palettes, we still like the uniqueness of it all. It was just like, I need more, you know, like I'm gonna need you to give more variety when it comes to the mattes than that, because that was not getting. But you know, I was still loving it. I still love it, or else it wouldn't be in this video. Now down to the end. So y'all know Mother was gonna be in this video. Y'all know she was. Oh crap, that. Hold on, y'all. I left a palette over there, so I'll be right back. But we're gonna talk all things Mother, because the rest of the video is literally just Pat McGrath quads or palettes. Okay, okay. Okay, new eye look who this, new eye look who this, honey. So, anyway, now it's time for the Pat McGrath portion of this video. So here we go right here. All my Pat McGrath palettes and quads. I'm trying to hold it away while I didn't drop them, because honey, since they limited edition, I can't get them back anymore. The only one I can get back is a new one. So we'll start off with the quads as number 9 in my top 10 holiday. Y'all know Mother be coming out with these quads, and I'll be living for them. This is still my favorite collection when it comes to the quads. The Astro Blitz, honey, she gave us all of it, and I wanted all of it, and I'm glad I got all of it, but it's like I need some more, Mother. This is not enough. So this is what is this one called? What, Rose Astro? Hold on. This one is Realistic Rose. This one right here. Gorgeous, stunning shades. As you can see, this one shifts. I feel like this is what slowly started her with all the rose stuff in her collection she has now with the Divine Rose and all that. So I feel like this was the first one that she really dedicated to rose, because I'm pretty sure these came out before Divine Rose. Don't quote me though, because I'm not 100% sure. I don't keep with when Mother releases what. I just know I have a good majority of all of whatever it is she's releasing. How you doing? Next we have my favorite one, which is Nocturnal Nirvana. Now y'all knew I was gonna remember the name of Nocturnal Nirvana, because honey, it's giving and I'm living. So here is what Nocturnal Nirvana looks like. And the green shifts to like a green purple moment if you haven't seen. So I'm here for it. I'm living for it. I love it. And this is like my favorite, one of my all-time favorite quads from Mother. The Blitz Astro collection is one of my all-time favorite quads from Pat McGrath, and I'm just here for it and loving it. Next, I have, I guess I should do in the order they came out. So next I have this collection. I have Realistic Rose and Interstellar Icon. So Realistic Rose was my favorite out of this set. This is the one that had the Flora Fantasia in it as well, that nobody seems to really like that much. But this is what she looks like on the inside. I love the coloring of this. Like, I think it's a great color story. Like, this reflective shade right here is giving everything. I love this dark pink. I love this darker outer V shade, so you can have this as a crease. This isn't as deep as I would hope it to be for my outer V, but you know, you can make it work. And then you have this nice shade for your inner corner that's nice and subtle, because of course I want the metallic goodness with the sparkly pink glitter all over the lid. It's just a requirement of life. I feel like this is a good go-to if you like a pink sparkly moment and you want to be like extra with your pink sparkly moment. This would be the quad for you, in my personal opinion. I don't know if these are still on her site or not. I feel like they're not. Don't quote me though. Next we're gonna get into Interstellar Icon. Now Interstellar Icon and Deep Sea Divinity look quite similar, so I'm gonna just pull them out both so you can see what I'm talking about. I feel like she just changed the matte and shimmer compilation to them, but they look the same. So this is Interstellar Icon and this is Deep Sea Divinity. You see what I'm saying about how similar they look? Now this shade does shift, and so does this one. This one shifts more blue to purple, and this is more of that burgundy-ish blue-brown situation going on. Whereas this one is a matte, and then this one is a more like satin shimmer, if you will. So both of them look really similar, but at least there's a matte in this one, there's no matte in this one. So I feel like these could be good combined, or you could just pick which one you like the best and get that one. I prefer the with Interstellar Icon better than Deep Sea Divinity if I had to choose between the two. But if you want a matte, I definitely think you would pick the Deep Sea Divinity, just because you get a matte shadow in there that's not offered in Interstellar Icon. But those are all the holiday quads I have from Mother, other than Flora Fantasia. But that's not a favorite of mine, so I didn't show it. It's actually my worst of holiday collections video. Spoiler alert. So of course y'all know I had to put in the Mega Motherships in this video. So this is number 10, the Mega Motherships. I'm just putting them all together because I have every single one and I love every single one. I know some people weren't crazy about the second one. I was fine with all three of them. Of course the third one is my best, and you'll see why in a second. But the first one is really nice. Like, if you wanted if you didn't get your chance to get your hands on the Jack Allen palette the year it came out, I feel like this palette looks really similar to it. Shout out to Morgan Turner, because she's the one who mentioned it when I was watching her video. She was like, it would pair nicely with the Jack Allen palette. I'm like, yeah, because it has a lot of the colorful mattes, and the color stories are somewhat similar, because this one doesn't have that many mattes. Mother has a tendency to put more shimmers than mattes, but I feel like she knows people love her shimmer formula, and that's why she does that. I don't know, but the color story of this is stunning. One of my friends was playing with it at work today, because I had brought it to do this video. So she was like going through my stuff. She wanted like a particular eye look. It was like the eye look that's at the beginning of this video, you know, that sparkly cranberry look that I told you all I did with the Seahorse palette. She wants me to do that look, so it's like I gotta film a video with that stuff tonight, so then that way I can bring it back with me tomorrow, because otherwise we're gonna stay here for the weekend. I was not playing. But next I have Deep Sea, sorry, not what is Celestial Odyssey, and the first one was named Celestial Divinity. This is Celestial Odyssey, and then we got Celestial Nirvana, I believe this is called. Yeah. So this is the second one with the red packaging. This is when she got the harder cardboard and the acrylic inserts that she puts inside of the tin pan palettes. So this is what she looks like on the inside. I am here for it. It's the whole vibe. I like the color story. To me, this was more playing it on the safe side, everyday friendly, whereas the first one and the third one, I feel like she did a little more uniqueness when it came to color. This one I feel like is the one she played the most safe, which I thought was weird that people didn't like it as much as they liked the other two. I thought that was weird, because I'm like, she played it safe and used colors that people use every day, so it could be more of like a year-round palette. But for some reason, people didn't like that one. They preferred the first one. Now, I love the third one. I know a lot of people aren't crazy about the third one. I don't care. I love it. My burgundy shade did crack those. I don't know how, and I don't know what's going on with that. So I'm going to try to hold it in a certain way to where it doesn't like fall out and break. I do have a backup of this palette because I love it that much, because mother gave us what? Colorful mattes and Celestial Nirvana. But I feel like it was a hint when she called her Nirvana, because if you all remember the Nocturnal Nirvana quad I showed you was really colorful. So I feel like she's just playing off those Astral Blitz quads and naming them according to that. Because you got what is it, Deep Sea Divinity, and then I just showed you Celestial Divinity. Then you got Celestial, what was the Odyssey, and then there was an Odyssey quad if I remember correctly, and now you have the Celestial Nirvana, and you got the Nocturnal Nirvana. So I feel like Nocturnal Nirvana would pair nicely with this one, especially because it's like blue, green, purple vibe, and there are blue, green, purple mattes in here to go with those shimmers. So I feel like she did an excellent job when it came to this one. I know a lot of people don't like this because of the color, and people said the color wasn't that great, but it's like, I'm not gonna complain, because we asked her for colorful mattes for all this time and she finally gave it to her. I won't complain. Okay, I'm gonna be glad that I got it, and a backup, because I didn't think I'd be able to get a backup. But you know, I feel like I'm going to be using this one a lot when it comes to just my Pat McGrath collection now as a whole, just because I finally got colorful mattes from mother. Because I remember I used to get like my all matte palettes and pull them out and put them with her shimmers, because it's like I really like her shimmers and all that. And it's not that her mattes are bad, it's just they have a tendency to be neutral. So I was like, I want some colorful mattes to go with these shimmers, so I would reach into all my colorful matte palettes and hook it up. But now I don't have to. I can just reach into her colorful mattes and use her shimmers, so I'm happy about that. So I'm not gonna complain, even if other people are. So those are the top 10 holiday palettes I had in my collection from the holidays past, and I'm hoping to collect some new holiday palettes this year that I'm really enjoying and love. But comment down below and let me know if you agree with my picks or not. Did you pick the palettes I picked, or were you surprised by the palettes I picked? Because I feel like if you watch this channel, then you shouldn't be surprised by what I picked. But you know, if you happen to be, then okay, I don't see how you would be. There was colorful palettes and there was Pat McGrath. I mean, that's all you need to know. But I hope you all enjoyed this video. Remember, you all are dimes. I hope I inspired you to pull some of these out and play with them, because just because they're holiday palettes doesn't necessarily mean you have to wait till the holidays to use them. Pull it out and remember, girl. Y'all know my motto, pull it out and remember. I hope you all enjoyed this video. Remember, you all are diamonds, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Be blessed, girl. Bye.